Okay. Chapter 6 is even going to be more fun. Okay, let's talk about half angles. This finishes out your sheet. This finishes out your cheat sheet. But there is one that I want you to add to this, okay? If tangent A over 2, and of course on your cheat sheet it says tangent of U over 2. If tangent of A over 2 is equal to this right here, then I need you to understand that cotangent of A over 2 is going to be the inverses. So it's going to be 1 plus cosine of A over sine A, which is also equal to sine A over 1 minus cosine of A. It's just because cotangent is the inverse of tangent. So you can add that one to your cheat sheet if you need to. Or just know that it is there. And so the cotangent, your half angle of cotangent, your cotangent of a half angle, is just going to be the inverse of your tangent of half angle. Okay, so look at this. Key thing here. Read the directions. Read the directions. Because I am asking you to use a half angle identity. And if you don't use a half angle identity, then you're going to get it wrong. Okay? I am asking you to use a half angle identity to find the sine of 195. Well, the half angle identity that you're going to use is sine of U over 2. Okay? Sine of U over 2. That's the half angle identity. Watch this. Are you watching? U over 2 is equal to 195. Do you agree? Because I'm asking you to use a half angle identity. So U over 2 is equal to 195. So can you tell me what U is equal to? Type it in your calculator. What is U equal to? Come on. Multiply both sides by 2. What is U equal to? 390 degrees. Can you find a reference angle for 390 degrees? What is it? 30. Now all of that came from chapter something or another, way back in the early part of the semester. So U is equal to 30 degrees. So watch this. In order to find sine of U over 2, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of U, and we're going to use the reference angle because we know what that is, over 2. Okay, so since I have to use a half angle identity, I have to figure out what U is. Just set U over 2 equal to the angle given. Use a reference angle if you need to, and that our reference angle in this case is going to be 30. Alright, from here, let's just do some math. I'm asking you to find an exact value. What does that mean? Throw the calculator away. I want an exact value, so throw that calculator away. Your answer is going to be in terms of radicals if need be. Alright, so we're going to have plus or minus the square root of 1 minus. What is the cosine of 30? Radical 3 over 2. Over 2. And make sure your square root covers that whole thing. From here, it's a lot of algebra. A whole lot of algebra. a whole bunch of algebra. Okay. First thing I want to do is I want to combine that numerator. 1 minus radical 3 over 2. But I can't use my calculator. But in order to add fractions, you must have what? A common denominator. What can I turn that 1 into? 2 over 2. So now we're going to have 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2 over 2. And for my purposes, over 1. So now I have a complex fraction. What are we going to do? Skin over guts, or whatever it is you do. It's completely and totally your choice. So we'll have 2 minus square root of 3 times 1, which is that. And then 2 over 2, which is going to be 4. Split them up. And you got your answer. So you have plus or minus square root of 2 minus square root of 3 over 2. Okay, try this one. Follow verbatim what we just did and see if you can do. Yes, no, maybe. What is U? What was your reference angle? Alright, so again, the directions say use a half angle identity. So we're looking at sine of U over 2. Well, U over 2 is equal to 165. So U is equal to, what did you come up with, 330? 330. So what was your reference angle? 30. 360 minus 330 is going to be 30. So your reference angle is going to be 30. So this one, ironically, is exactly the same as the one that we just did. So we have plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of U. We're going to use the reference angle over 2. And like I said, the answer comes out to be, One more time? Yes, it comes out to be exactly the same thing. So you have plus or minus the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2. Yeah. All right. Look at this one. It says find x over 2, find the half angle, given that cosine of x is negative 5/8. So we're looking for this. And if we're looking for that, let's go ahead and write down the formula. And we are in quadrant 2, which doesn't really matter. But so, what are you going to do? Is this problem extremely hard? Yes? No? Maybe? What would you do? What do you need to know in order to plug into the formula? Cosine of x. Is that given to you? Yeah. All you got to do is plug straight into the formula. So we're going to have plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of x is a negative 5/8, so we're going to put plus 5/8 over 2. From here, pure math. So we have plus or minus the square root of 8 over 8 plus 5 over 8 is going to be what? 13 over 8 over 2 over 1. Skin over guts, which is going to be 13 over 16. Split them up. And you got it. Okay. This one's not so easy. Find cosine, half angle, cosine x over 2. Alright, so let's write down the formula. We have plus or minus the square root of 1 plus cosine of x over 2. Okay, I am given cotangent of x is equal to negative 3. Tell me everything that you know. Let's just make a list. Tell me everything that you know from here. You know your x and y. Very good. This is negative 3 over 1. What is x? What is y? Good. What else do you know? You can find your r. So 3 squared. So we'll have what? 9 plus 1 is equal to r squared. So r is equal to the square root of 10. Good. So now what? Cosine is equal to x over r. Why is it negative? Not because of this, but because of what? Because you're in quadrant 2. That's why it's negative. Because cotangent of x being negative 3 over 1, that negative could go with either the 3 or the 1. Y could have been a negative. But the fact that we're in quadrant 2, cosine's negative, sine's positive. Okay, so we know that cosine is equal to negative 3 over square root of 10. So do we need everything we need in order to figure out the problem? What do we need to know in order to figure out this problem? Cosine of x, we got it. Alright, so you're going to have plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 1 plus cosine of x we said was negative 3 over the square root of 10 over 2. What is 1 plus a negative 3 square root of 10? This is going to be fun. What do you have to have in order to have a common denominator? I'm stupid. What do you have to have in order to add fractions? Common denominator. What's going to be the common denominator? Square root of 10. How do you turn 1 into the common denominator of square root of 10? Square root of 10 over square root of 10. Very good. I'll go ahead and write this out because this one's going to be a little crazy. Okay, so if I put those numerators together, I'm going to have the square root of 10 minus 3 over the square root of 10 over 2 over 1. So let's do some skin over guts and see what happens. We're going to have square root of 10 minus 3 over 2 square roots of 10. Joy, joy. Okay. That big radical, let's talk about some algebra here, okay? That big radical, ignore it for right now. Just ignore it. Let's simplify, rationalize, whatever. What's underneath that big radical first? Okay, let's just pretend that it's not even there. What would you need to do? Multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 10, right? So, we're going to have, now inside here, this is what we have. I'll write it up here. You have the square root of 10 minus 3 times the square root of 10. That's our numerator. Square root of 10 times square root of 10, square root of 100, which is 10, minus 3 square roots of 10. So that's going to be your numerator. And then on the bottom, we're going to have 2 square root of 10 times the square root of 10, which is going to be 2 times 10, which is 20. So that's going to be your denominator. Alright, we got to keep going. Split them up. So we're going to have 10 minus 3 square root of 10 over the square root of 20. And I'm running out of room. So you have the square root. you'll have the square root of 10 minus 3 square roots of 10 over 2 square roots of 5. Rationalize. And so, again, you're going to have 10 minus 3 square roots of 10 times the square root of, or times 5 rather. That's what you're going to do. Alright, so you'll have 50 minus 15 square roots of 10. Over 10. And that's it. Look, if you have the square root of A times the square root of B, that's the square root of A times B, and that's where that came from. Because you have the square root of that times the square root of that. Fun stuff, fun stuff, fun stuff. Alright. Last one. Save the best for last. Now look at what you're looking for. It says to find cotangent of theta over 2. Find cotangent of theta over 2. Remember what I told you at the beginning of this section? Remember I told you that cotangent is the inverse of your tangent identity? Yes? And I told you to even write it on your formulas page if you wanted to. Okay, so again, let's write down things that we know. What do we know? What? I can't hear you. Oh, yes, we are in quadrant 2. I'm sorry. What else? X is what? 2. Y is what? Which one's negative? That negative's got to go somewhere. It's got to go with either the 2 or the radical 5. Which one? We're in quadrant 2, so sign has to be positive, so it can't go with the y, right? Sign goes with y. So it has to be this one. Has to be. Okay. Now what? Alright, so x squared is going to be 4. Y squared is going to be 5. And r squared is what we're looking for. So r is going to be 3. What else can you tell me? Cosine of theta is going to be what? Negative 2/3. Good. What is sine theta going to be? Good job. Okay, that's what we know. Now, let's go back to what we're trying to find. Cotangent of theta over 2. Let's write down the formula. Look at the formulas. And it doesn't matter which one you use, I could care less. You can either use sine u over 1 minus cosine u, or you can use 1 plus cosine u over sine u. Either way, it's going to get you the exact same answer. Go with whichever one you want to deal with. I'm just going to go with the first one first. So sine theta over 1 minus cosine theta. Do you know what sine theta is? Over 1 minus. Do you know what cosine theta is? Okay, now watch what I'm going to do. The formula says 1 minus cosine theta, but cosine theta is negative, and negative is a positive, so I'm going to put 1 plus. Don't think that I used the other formula. 2 over 3. From here, pure math. Pure math. So we're going to have square root of 5 over 3 over 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3 is going to be 5 over 3. 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3 is going to be 5 over 3. Skin over gut, so we're going to have 3 square roots of 5 over 15. And reduce the whole numbers, we're going to get the square root of 5 over 5.